Hello and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow-Driven VC podcast. It is Monday, and I can say it's Monday for both of us. And I am thrilled to have on the show today, all the way from Tel Aviv in Israel. I say all the way because I'm in Australia, which is so far away. And is Eran Savir. Welcome, Eran.
Hi, thanks for having me.
No, thank you. Thank you for coming on. I'm feeling like this is going to be a great chat for a Monday and quite a motivating chat actually to kickstart the week, just on based on the little side chat we had there. Before we jump into what I'm loving talking about right now in terms of the VC and reshaping what the VC world looks like is, I just want to celebrate some of your successes and what you're doing, and then I'll hand it over to you to tell us more, Eran. But you're the founding and managing partner of Savion Ventures, and I'm keen to understand where that logo or we'll come back to that because I've just noticed it and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting, my brand stuff. But it's a seed stage fund backing company that is AI digital and commerce startups. You've previously managed two seed funds. You've founded multiple startups. I'm noticing this too with a lot of people I'm speaking to, the multiple startups. So you've obviously had the founder experience as well, and you've had successful exits. And I'd love to chat about that as well, the successful versus the not so, I wouldn't say successful, but the not so enjoyable exits. You also serve as a chairman at Monaro Ventures, which is publicly trading. And I will say, when I ask anyone to sign up for the podcast, I always ask a question around what's one unique experience in life, leadership, and investing in from a VC perspective. And I absolutely loved what you said. And it was be human and approachable, lead by example, stay humble, and keep a sense of humor in life. So important, leadership and investing. So tell us a bit about your journey because you're in one of the most, what did you say to me before? You're in one of the most vibrant VC ecosystems in the world. Third, I think you said, or second or third. So tell us your journey. Tell us what you've been up to. I'd love to hear a little bit.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks again for having me. Just maybe a few words about myself. So, I mean,
Yes.
you briefly mentioned it, but yeah, I have a technical background. I got my first computer at the age of 10, which was many, many years ago. I'm 50 years old.
I'm 48, so that's
So,
okay.
yeah,
We're
so
getting wiser.
yeah, exactly. That means that we're getting better and smarter.
Yes.
And but yeah, so before I became an investor, I was a founder myself. I founded three startups, two of which were acquired, and then I joined the company in the space of advertising technology. I founded a corporate VC, which was very, very successful. We did nine investments, five exits, and
Wow.
then we launched another fund, took it public. We did five investments. One we already exited, and the rest will follow, hopefully. And Savion is my third fund. So I would describe myself as, a founder or a builder. So you could be a founder of a startup, of any business. All in all, like I guess in the past little less than 20 years, I founded six new businesses. So that is kind of my history in a nutshell. Just a few words about Israel, just because you asked. So some people know, but some don't.
Yeah.
Israel is this small place that everyone hears about in the news. Many people hear the bad things and don't really know where Israel is. But generally speaking, Israel is like around 10 million in population.
Mm.
It's considered to be, also called the startup nation.
Ah,
It's
I didn't
considered to
know
be
that.
one of the best places to start a startup in the world. The third best place, in fact, after Silicon Valley and New York comes Israel. Israel is number one in the world in amount of capital being invested in VC money per capita. Um, there are tons of numbers about the success of Israel, but just about, for example, the amount of publicly traded companies
Yeah.
per country. It's like
Yeah.
Israel is third in the world, so it's like US, China, and Israel.
Wow.
And so we're this small country with a lot of high tech and innovation. We can talk about why this happens. Maybe it's a kind of a different conversation, but that's kind of
No, I was going to ask you why. Like, why? Where does that come from? Like, it's not a different conversation. I think it's all encompassing with what we're talking about, and it feels like Israel's getting stronger and stronger. And we were talking pre-show around. My sense is from talking to quite a few of you now that there is this new or this reshaping of the VC and the ecosystem, and even like Silicon Valley has always been that number one sort of thing. But you're starting to see now these emerging like, and you talk about Israel. It's very interesting for me. Yeah.
yeah. I guess the number of startups per capita in Israel is the highest in the world. And
Wow.
yeah, there are many reasons for why Israel is kind of performs the way it does. And one of these reasons is I guess depending on where you compare it to the population in the world, but in Israel it's like it's considered to be a success if you tried. So if you founded the business, regardless of the results, it's already a success. It's like this famous quote of the man in the arena, um, that you get the glory for getting into the arena. You don't necessarily need to win, but just you get
Give
the
it a
glory
go.
for getting into the arena.
Yeah.
Uh, of course, everyone that sits on the sidelines gets no glory because there's no effort. And so I think this is part of the mentality. Aside from that, there are actually many reasons. Israel is relatively new country. It was incorporated 76, 77 years ago. And before that, there was like nothing here. It was like desert.
Yeah.
And, and in terms of technology, there was like a necessity to innovate and to build. So Israel is leading the world in many factors and innovations, including agriculture, water, and technology, high tech, internet technology as a whole, fintech and stuff. Now, of course, also defense tech, cyber, and it's very strong. So there's a lot of innovation happening in Israel, mainly because it's a necessity. Like we needed to come up with innovative ideas
Develop.
to build,
Yeah.
yeah, to
Develop as a
build and
country.
develop. And
Yeah.
so Israel is one of the most developed countries in the world in many aspects. Um,
Wow.
that is
It's
that
quite,
is my Israeli
no,
pitch.
thank you. It's quite incredible because you had your first computer at 10 as well, right? Like, and you're talking, we're showing our age here. But is that almost like, is that the norm or was that the norm? Or, like when you talk about, being such an innovative place or country, if you like. Were you someone that was, outside the norm with having your first computer at 10 years of age, or was that something that was always part of, like, is that contributed, I guess, my question to this innovative mindset? Almost like for me, it's like that beginner's mindset where there's this constant, you talked about you're a builder, you're innovative, that sort of thing. Like, yeah, where does that come from?
Yeah, I think that we were one of the first families to have like a personal computer. It was 1984. Like people didn't know what to do with this thing and who needs it at all. And I didn't have anyone to learn from. So my father brought it from work, and he also was learning what to do with it. And the same, I did it in my spare time. Just sat with books. I was like in fourth grade, and all the books were in English. In Israel, you start learning English in fourth grade. So
Mm,
while learning English, I also kind of taught myself how to read these books and understand how to write code. And but to be honest, I think quite quickly other friends had computers too. So that was the era of Commodore
Commodore
64.
64. I was about to ask you, was it a Commodore 64?
No, so my first computer was like an earlier version. It's like
Oh,
Sinclair Spectrum 16K. So that
wow.
was my first computer. But then friends started getting Commodore and stuff, and it was mainly for games and stuff. But I think there was the mentality is like of you need to hustle, you need to teach yourself. No one gets like this is not possible, or this is not something that we cannot do. No one gets it as like a legitimate answer in Israel. This is kind of the mentality. Like we need to get to something, we need to do something, and we will do it.
I love
And so
it. It's like back to this success piece as well, like stepping into this arena. Like it's such a, a resilient, like almost for me, well, it's anti-fragile mindset where it's like we've got to go from here to here. So let's just do it versus stopping and almost getting stuck.
yeah. I think the part of it is also like the excitement of setting up a goal that seems like impossible to achieve, or we
Mm,
can. I'm talking about even about technology and kind of innovation in technology that it's not possible to achieve, but then we will achieve, we will get to it. We'll find a way to get to it, and we will achieve it. And there are actually multiple examples of things that were developed and created here in Israel, um, including most recently NVIDIA. Is they acquired a few years ago one of the companies in Israel. By the way, most of the multinational companies, corporates have their R&D offices in Israel for that
wow.
reason, because by definition we do not accept the this is not possible as an answer. So there's a lot of innovation happening here. So just NVIDIA recently decided to spend more money in the larger location in Israel. They already have like 1,000 employees here, but to multiply this by more, maybe more than 1,000, maybe a few thousand.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, this is kind of the mentality, and I think that as a founder, by the way, you don't necessarily need to found like a tech company. Generally speaking, it's like a way of life, right? I mean, and this is also how we, this is what we teach our children. Is like you need to at least try, and it's okay to fail or not to
Yeah.
succeed, but just trying teaches you so many things that you just need to try. And I think this is the mentality, and you don't lose points for failing.
Trying. Yeah.
You only get points for trying and succeeding and being innovative and inventing. And so yeah, that's kind of part of the mentality, I guess.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So you've built six businesses in the past. Like, how have you juggled all of that, in terms of like that's a lot. Like to be so innovative, to be building, like how do you keep, if we're talking about even mindset here, how do you keep your ideas fresh? I mean, of course you have a team around you and that sort of thing and the collaboration.
I have multiple things to say about this as a response, but to start with, I'm very curious, and I think that this is one of the most important things for a person to be successful. And I read many years ago, like if you could teach your children one thing in order to help them to be successful, it will be to be curious, like
Yeah.
to ask questions and be curious. And I think that this is like a very strong indicator of your ability to succeed. And you can see that now, like in the last 2 years, you will see the differentiation between founders who were curious to learn new technology. They were not afraid to learn. They were
Mm.
eager to, to understand what's the new AI thing.
Yeah.
And you would see the difference between those who were curious. They went on learning new things just because they were curious, not because it was necessity. I mean, like an internal necessity, right? You need to understand what is this new thing. So I think that I'm very curious, and all in all, I'm very hungry and eager to make a progress. So, before I started my first startup, I actually my first kind of grown up job was at a startup that was then acquired by SAP. It was 2001.
Right.
This is how I joined SAP. I spent there 6 years in, you know, engineering, product management, R&D as well. And after 6 years, I learned a lot, but I also was very, very eager to build something, to do
Yeah.
something else. And so I went on founding my first startup. And then after around 4 years, I wanted to build another thing. So I had so many ideas that I wanted to do. And then I wanted to do something else. So it's, you know, I love the building part, and I love the thing that you have like multiple things going on in parallel. And everyone they were kind of in the same space, like internet businesses, but they were different.
Yeah.
And so I think that I learned a lot from each and every experience, but I
Yeah.
was very eager to learn more. And
Yeah.
then after three experiences as a founder, I thought that, I felt that along the way, by the way, one of the things about Israel, but I guess about smaller ecosystems, is that people are very approachable and accessible and willing to help. That was part
Mm.
of my answer to your question for this before this call. And I remember that I approached everyone I could to ask for help in my first and second, also my third startup, like everyone I could. And some people, especially in the local ecosystem in Israel, but also in Silicon Valley, were very, very accessible. So you could
Yeah.
approach anyone and they would, spend some time trying to help you for nothing in return. And I remember that as part of things that I would like to also
Offer.
maintain and offer in the future. And
Yeah.
then, and I also, and I already have done that while I was a founder. But after three startups, I thought that maybe I could actually do that at a scale, and also put my like my money where my mouth is. And so you don't not only give advice, but you could actually help.
Yeah.
And and doing that at scale, meaning you actually will become an investor. By the way, it's not a trivial transition. I actually thought it is. Like after I had so many calls with investors as a founder trying to raise money, and I thought that I understand their mentality and how they work, and I'm gonna be that other type of investor who would respond and be nice and be friendly and accessible. But it's not a trivial transition at all. It actually took me more time than I expected.
Really.
Yeah, to change the mindset.
And what's the
And
like, because it's interesting you're talking about this because again, I've had various conversations where, there's the investor who's never been a founder from the VC space, but then there's the founder, and then there's like you, almost like a hybrid, if you like, where you've been a founder, but you're also an investor. So you understand the founder, what they're going through day in, day out, the roller coaster of scaling
I
or
think that
starting.
this is,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm seeing a huge difference between investors who were not founders and those who were founders. And I
Yeah.
also get this feedback a lot. I mean, I speak with a lot of founders. I see a lot of opportunities. Just to for you to understand the numbers, I'm seeing around 1,000 opportunities a year. If you
Wow.
calculate that based on number of days per year, you understand how many opportunities I see a day.
Mm, mm.
Um, and I speak with 1 to 3 founders every day. And I think that one of the most common, the most popular feedback that I get towards the end of most of my calls is like the founders feel the difference between speaking to an investor who was not a founder versus someone who was a founder. So it's easier for me to understand the challenges. I sat in that chair just a few years ago and tried raising money, getting no's from most of the investors that I
Yeah.
spoke with because this is the statistics. And I think that I also understand, so I understand the challenges. I also understand the nuances about, how when you try to make the reality look a bit nicer, but it's not. And I think it's much easier for me to understand the startup dynamics because I've done it myself. And as a result, by the way, once I invest, I try to be relatively involved, but not too involved.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the founder. I will not put
Yeah.
my hand in the wheel.
Yeah.
And there are many founders or there are multiple founders in each company. The question is what happens. I mean, when there are good news, the founders will let all the investors know the good news. It's always fun
Yeah.
to tell, nice stories. But when bad things happen, you need someone to consult with. You need someone to um, even just tell the bad news to and get some advice. And I often find myself to be that first person because I've seen things happen. I mean,
Is that
the term is like when the shit hits the fan,
100%? Yeah.
and it happens like multiple times per each startup. You need to have someone on your side. Oftentimes, it's not the investors because they just want to hear,
Good
quote
news.
unquote, like good
Yeah.
news.
Yeah.
But I understand that bad things happen, and oftentimes it's very, very bad. And
It's up.
I,
For me, it feels like, and when we talk about this new or reshaping of VC, and especially for someone like you who's got your own VC company firm now, but you've also been a founder, and so you've got the founder investor. So you had to obviously learn a lot transitioning from founder to become an investor as well. But it feels like to me, just hearing you out loud now, is that you're almost like a strategic advisor at times to these founders when shit hits the fan, because we can quickly, and you would know this, as founders, as leaders, when we have a crisis, we can either go into reactive mode and almost sometimes shut down or make the wrong decisions versus, well, actually, what do we need to do here? And what do we need to, how do we need to pivot? How do we need to move? And not get in this reactive, almost like you're in survival mode, but how are you getting yourself out of it to get you back into a position where you can strategically, back to your point earlier around, I say bouncing forward, moving forward,
yeah,
because we're not always, nothing, everything's possible. Nothing's, what do they say? Nothing's that, there's a quote that I love around, nothing is possible. No, nothing is impossible, everything is possible.
yeah,
But it's how you adapt and in those situations. And I love hearing the way that they talk to you about that, because it sounds like, because you being a builder as well, how you would have pivoted heaps of times when it comes to
yeah.
building businesses.
I think as a response to your question about being a strategic or
Mm.
or not, you know, I think that there is a value in being um, experienced in something. I mean, we don't necessarily appreciate the experience and the domain expertise that much, but so you'll see like, and of course it's a valid approach, but you'll see investors who are generalists, right? So it's like there are two things that you need to know as an investor. You need to know how to invest, and you need to know the domain, right? So some investors know how to invest, they know how to pick the right people, to understand the teams, they trust the numbers or the team. And the way I look at it is I have another layer. So I am a domain expertise, so I'm not a generalist.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything in the world. I don't know how to invest in everything, but I do know how to invest in internet companies. Like I call it AI, digital, and commerce for the fund's thesis, but it's like internet companies, both B2B and B2C. I've been many, many years in that specific space as a founder since 2007. And I've seen many, many things.
Yeah.
The world looked differently back in 2007. So as a founder and then as an investor. So there is a value in the expertise. And by the way, I expect the same expertise um, from the founders that I invest in. So especially in today's world where things move so
So fast.
rapidly,
Yeah.
and AI, and kind of announcement happens every day that your business could be disrupted. And so one of the things that I value is like domain expertise. And this is what I expect from the founders that I invested, but also I expect from myself.
Mm.
So yeah, I think that I'm often perceived as that specific investor who understands the space. And so I have these two layers of understanding the space, and I will only invest in companies that I understand their domain, um, the dynamics of the business. Every business is different, but some dynamics in some verticals of businesses I've seen already, and I know, what will grow faster or slower. What are the challenges that, of course, it's going to be different, but still, I'm specifically looking for what I call fast-growing internet companies. So I can understand relatively early in the process, and
Yeah.
I'm looking for initial revenue. So, given that specific point in the lifetime of the company, I think that I can understand if the company will grow fast or not, and I will pick those who grow faster.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah. Do you pick people that'll grow fast or businesses that'll grow faster that are again back to being strategic? Like because there's a difference around growing faster and it's almost like short term versus long term. So are you looking at businesses then that are growing faster, but they've got that long term, you can see a long term vision, North Star, if you like. Because I think there's a huge difference in businesses that are quick growth spike, but then there's no substance behind it. Like how do you determine that?
I since I became an investor, I think that I was not like a typical VC. So this is like the answer for me, but it's not like a typical VC necessarily. So um, one of the things that I learned in my third startup is something very, very, I mean, I knew it, but it was very clear in my third startup for me as a founder that the basic things of having the income higher than the expenses column, this is what makes a business, right? Just you need to get revenue. And it's so simple, right? I mean, before VC existed, you started the business, you'd go and get revenue, and you need to get less expenses than income in order to survive. And then VC came, uh, and dynamics were a little bit different. So
Yeah,
I am kind of back to looking for founders who have a fast moving mentality, but also they're building businesses. So this is why I only invested like the initial revenue stage, and I encourage all the founders that I meet to start generating revenue as soon as possible,
Mm.
right? I mean, my third company, the first attempt was okay, but the second attempt we pivoted, and the second attempt was I actually started selling to customers with an animated presentation. It was before the days of Figma, right? I sold them animated presentation and they were paying. And we didn't have the product yet. But customers were paying to get in line to be the first one to get this, like for the waiting list. And this is where I realized how important it is to, first of all, generate revenue, because this is like the ultimate proof that there's a real problem and customers are willing to pay for it, right? They're not saying, yeah, this is interesting.
Yeah.
No, they're actually paying,
Yeah.
right? Sometimes they're paying and the product is like glued with spit. It's like nothing in there yet. But still, customers, if you're onto something and you're solving a painful problem for them, they will pay for it
Yeah,
because it's.
absolutely.
And so, as an investor, I value those businesses who generate revenue relatively early. In difficult times, those founders will survive. And I've seen that over and over again in my portfolio companies. Founders who know how to generate revenue know how to go through difficult times. When the macroeconomics,
Yeah.
like in a 2022 crash, I none of my portfolio company crashed. I mean, of course they went down, but none of them crashed
Do you think
because
like
it's founders who know how to generate revenue.
yeah, 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 yeah. I
Simple.
like it. And is there like a baseline that you look at when it comes to, I'm not asking for a specific number here, but when you talk about generating revenue, do you like have a certain baseline or it depends on the company and what they're,
It depends on the company, but not because I don't want to give an answer. It depends on the company because what I'm actually looking for is a proof,
yeah,
even initial proof that this is real. So, for example, if it's like a B2B company that like sells a monthly subscription of, let's say, $1,000, so it's going to be like five, six, seven paying customers. If it's a B2C company, and the price is like $80, I'm sorry, it's going to be like, a few hundred sales, maybe 1,000. So we will see the dynamics. And this is really, it's not like they had like this lucky day that few people came
yeah,
in. And it's not like they're friends and family. This is like real people.
mm,
And this is like a real problem. You could potentially speak with those customers and hear their pains and why are they paying for this.
mm. Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm very conscious of your time. I want to take a complete pivot for a second because I'm looking at and my background is obviously brand, well, I should say obviously is brand and communications from way back when. But in terms of coming up with Savion Ventures and this beautiful image, but well, I don't know what to call it actually, but can you just explain a little bit to me, please? Because I'm
Sure.
sure there's something that comes back to your heritage or your culture or something to do with Israel or something to do with building. I get the sense. And I keep looking at all the different, is it a specific plant or is it something from
Yeah.
yeah. So I'd love for you to share that, please, because it's just popping out at me. And I'm like, yeah.
Sure. So yeah, so actually the name Savion, it's a name of a flower,
Yeah.
one of the most popular flowers in Israel, and I think in the Mediterranean, but generally speaking, it's quite familiar also in the rest of the world. It's in English, it's called groundsel, or it's like this flower that when it dries, it looks like a grandfather's hair, like white hair. And then the seeds, this is like one of the seeds. Usually, I mean, this the flower is kind of a winter type of flower, and then towards the spring it dries out, and then the seeds fly in the wind. So this is one of the seeds of this ground selling in English it's called. So So why did I pick it? So first of all, because it's a flower, and I was looking for something about growth. It's also kind of Israeli or in the region. Um, and the thing is that I've been investing in seed stage for many, many years.
Mm.
One of the interesting things about this specific flower is that it changes colors, and it has a lot of different ways and attributes to distribute itself. And that's also part of the way I look at it. It's like, it has the winds, the bees, this large kind of plate that when the flower is just grown or started. And I've been, since I'm an investor in seed stage for many, many years. And I think that marketing and advertising is so important, and branding. And so that kind of resonates with me, and I think it makes a lot of sense to just focus on and try to find something with that meaning. That's if you go to our website, by the way, savionventures.com, at the bottom of the homepage, I actually explained that.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I must have I'm sorry, I must have missed it, but I absolutely it's just such a it's and I just love the story behind it. I've got two quick questions for you and then to let you get back to the start of your week. But it just comes back to you talked around being human and approachable. You said stay humble and you said keep a sense of humor in life leadership investing. Can you just share a little bit about what made you respond? Like, what, yeah, just, yeah, if you could just share a little bit more on that answer, please.
So one of the things that my experience as a founder was that it was relatively difficult to communicate with investors and pitch them, get their feedback. Many investors kind of ghost you and before or after the call, which is, for me, it was actually something that I couldn't stand as a founder. I mean, this is not like an ethical way to do business,
No, I agree with
to
you. I
ghost on
totally agree.
someone. And I kept telling myself, if I ever become an investor, I will respond to everyone. I will never ghost someone. And until today, and I told you about how many opportunities I get a day, I respond to all investors, and I get the messages by WhatsApp, email, LinkedIn, whatever, and I will respond personally to each investor. So the first thing is being accessible and approachable. For us all to be successful, I mean, the founder needs the investor, but the investor also needs the founder.
Founder, yeah,
I keep reminding this to myself. I mean, I also need the great founders to want me. I mean, they can get money. Money is just it's kind of commodity, right?
yeah,
I want them to choose me. I want them to prefer me. And so this is kind of it's not like they're, looking I will look at them from, bottom up,
mm,
top down, or they will look at me from bottom. No, this is like we need each other. So, I mean, I think that more investors needs to remember that.
yeah, I like
And
it.
this is like a business that we're building together. And
Partnership.
I think it's a real partnership. In fact, I think that good investors are actually doing me a favor for allowing me to buy a ticket into their trip, into their train or their bus or their journey,
Yeah,
right? They are bringing me in.
yeah,
And so I keep reminding myself that this is the situation, and the fact that I've seen few successes doesn't mean that this will always work. And there will be failures for me and for the people that I work with. And this is like about, okay, stay humble. This is okay. I mean, you can succeed, but you can
yeah,
also fail. It's part of the life. The journey is what matters. And I think that just don't take yourself too seriously is also very important,
yeah, I
because
agree.
this at some point, some people who have seen a few successes, they become too um, cocky, maybe,
Ego.
or
I
they're
was about to
too.
say ego. The ego just kind of like
Yeah,
everything's ego driven, like exactly what you're saying, cocky, that ego driven,
yeah,
but you know,
yeah. And I always say I don't have any ego when it comes to investment. I think it's but I guess also in life. So
I
I guess
agree.
I do have an ego, but not a big one.
We all
And
do.
I'm trying
Not a big one.
to always do the right thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes the right thing means, okay, put your ego aside and do the right thing.
Yeah, I love it. Erin, how do we find out more about you? But you are a man of many wise words of wisdom, but you've got the builder, the investor, and you know, and you're so approachable and so humble. I've got you down from a LinkedIn perspective, obviously savionventures.com.
Yeah.
Are they the main two places to connect with you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, on our website. My email is eran.savir@gmail.com. You can also find it in plain text on my LinkedIn, so I don't hide my email. It's very important, I guess,
Yeah.
because that's part of what I said before. So that's another good way to find me, and I respond. I respond to messages and emails.
And last question, just to end it, this is a big one, what do you see as the next big, you may not be able to answer this, but what do you see as the next big piece of innovation? I mean, obviously AI is like revolutionary, right? What do you think's next? Or is it just an unknown?
Wow, this is a big one. So as an investor, I'm investing in the top tier application layer. And so I think that what we're seeing, I mean, I don't have like a very good answer. It's more like a broader
Yeah,
answer to the specific question. What I'm seeing is a lot of small innovations for disrupting the major companies that we already know today. So this is what I'm seeing right now. And I think that every few years, like every 10 to 15 years, there's like a new generation of companies. The last new generation was in 2007, 8, 9. It's like WhatsApp, Instagram,
yeah, right.
and Airbnb, Uber. That was the mobile
Pre-GFC.
cloud era. And now there's the AI. So you already see like the multi-billion dollar
Yeah.
businesses that were created like 2 years ago.
Mm.
Some of them disrupt existing businesses like Google. And so OpenAI disrupts Google. So I think that this is an interesting, probably the best time in human history to be a founder, but also to be an investor. So
I love it.
yeah, it's definitely one of the most amazing times to be in tech.
Yeah, amazing. Oh my gosh, Erin, thank you so much. I've thoroughly enjoyed chatting to you. I feel like I want to email you after this and go, can we have another conversation, please? Just
Sure.
as a founder, like as someone, you know, building my own business because and you're so genuinely approachable. So thank you so much. It's been absolute joy talking to you. I'll get your details up in the show notes and have a lovely day and a lovely week ahead.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
No, thank you.